Hey everybody, Ijaz back with another video. So you want to retire early, but you need a game plan. Well, let's get into one. The first step of any retirement plan is to understand how much do you need to live off. And that's a personal choice, whether that's £1,000, £2,000 a month, £5,000 a month, £20,000 a month. That's up to you, and it's based on what you want to do when you retire. So my first step for you guys would be to go through and break down what it is you want to, what retirement looks like for you. Is there a holiday home? Is there a certain car? Are you spending a certain amount of money on hobbies or food, etc.? And break it down into a monthly figure that you need to spend. Let's call that £5,000 to start with. So let's say in order to retire, let's say you want £5,000. Let's get this pen on. Let's say you want 5k. Now we need to figure out how much do we need in terms of our cash amount in order to spit off £5,000 passive income to us each month. Okay, so per annum, that £5,000 multiplying by 12 is going to give us £60,000. Okay, so we need 60,000 per annum cash flow. Now we know we can invest in a whole bunch of different stocks which yield a dividend amount. I'll give you a few examples. AT&T, 7.47%. Universal Corporation, 6.17%. MO Altria, 7.25%. British Tobacco, 8.02%. So if you didn't want to do anything, if you didn't want to do real estate, you didn't want to do stocks, you didn't want to do crypto, which we'll come on to later, which gives us far greater returns, you can relax and retire on, let's comfortably say, a 5% yield currently in the stock market. Okay? So now we need to do the backwards calculation to say, how much of a lump sum do we need in order for 60k to be 5% of that amount? Okay? So you want to do 60,000 divided by 0.05, assuming a 5% increase. And that's going to give you 1.2 million. Okay, so now we know our figure. We need to get to 1.2 million, and then we can invest it in an index fund or high dividend producing stocks, which can spit us an average off of 5% in order to get our £60,000 per annum. That is then our 5k. And guess what? Our 1.2 million initial is never touched. So now we've got a goal, right? Instead of this dream of, I want to retire at some point, we know we need to get to 1.2 million or whatever that number is for you. And by the way, the 5% return is a very conservative return at this stage. You can take risk off even more, or you can say, hang on, I want a 10% return. In which case, if you're getting a 10% return, we can do that very quickly and do divided by 0.1. And now you need 600k, right? Because if you got 600k spinning off 10%, that's your 60k a year. That's your 5k a month. Okay, so play around with this as you want, but just take the concept. And the concept is we need to figure out what that lump sum amount is. So in this instance, let's stick to it. It's 1.2 million pounds or dollars or whatever you are in the world. Okay, so 1.2 million. Now, we're not retiring yet. If many of you are in the age bracket of 20s to 40s, even the 50s, we're not ready to retire. We're still growing our wealth. Okay. Now, some of us, let's say we were just starting off on £1,000 or £100. We need to get to that 1.2 million figure. That's called the growing phase. That's called building our wealth. Okay. And in this period of building our wealth, we don't want to be thinking about these cash flows that I've just gone through. That's going to be for when we choose to retire and go to the beach, when we're done. When we're done working, we're done actively investing. At that point, we can say, okay, I'm done. I'm hanging the gloves up, hanging up the TradingView login, and we're going to head to the beach, right? Because we're now happy. We've met our goal of 1.2. We can put it in a passive index fund or stocks, which is spitting off 5%. And we know we're going to get our 60k. I can have my holiday home in Spain. I can purchase the things I want. And my 1.2 million is not being touched. Okay, great. But what are we going to do now? Now is when we need to build. So now is not when you want to be necessarily investing in dividend stocks, at least not the majority of your portfolio. Now is the time to be in high growth companies, because let's face it, getting 5% today is not going to get you very far if you're on a low amount of income. I mean, let's do the maths here. Let's say we have call it £1,000 to start with. Okay, let's say £100. So anybody can start. Nobody's got an excuse. Let's say we start on £100 and we're investing at 0.5%, and we're doing that for 10 years compounded. That's going to give us £162, right? It's not going to get us very far. You're just going to be in a loop and you're making 5% on your £100 time and time again. We need massive yields. We need growth. Now, if you've got a massive amount of money already, or you've inherited some, then go for it. Go straight into your dividend stocks. Don't destroy your nest egg. Live off of the passive income from that, the 5%, and you're good to go. But for the majority of us, we want to be building our income, right? If you've just got £100 in your name, you've got a couple of £1,000, you need to be investing in the stocks, which are going to double, triple, quadruple. And you want to find those stocks year after year and keep growing, whether that's crypto, stocks, doing some real estate, getting yourself on the property market to find high, doing some flips. That's what we need to do. We need to be in the growing phase. Now, the aim of the game for this particular person, on this example, who wants 5K a month, they want the 60K a year, and therefore they need to get to 1.2 million. So I don't want to see them cashing out or going into any passive income, kind of mentality until they've built their net worth to 1.2 million. And what I mean by net worth is your assets minus your liabilities. Okay, so let's calculate our net worth now. So in your head, take what assets you have, including cash, and minus any debts and liabilities you have. Okay, so let's say you have 100K. Let's say you have 50K, sitting in cash. You have 50K in some stocks, and you have a car loan of 20 grand. That means you've got, let's draw it out. That means we've got, let's get our rubber out here. Let's do some rubbing out. So we know what our target is. We want to get to 1.2 million, okay? So now we know we've got 50K in cash. We've got 50K in stocks. And we've got minus 20 in car. Okay, so that's giving us 80K in net worth. Oh, am I in the way? Great. So that's giving us 80K in net worth. 50K in cash, 50K in stocks, and we've got 20K of our car loan. So our net worth is 80K. So if today you were to just stop and put that 80K in the 5% yield, what are you getting? You're getting 80 times 0.05, you're getting £4,000 per annum. You're getting £4,000 per annum, which is 300 quid a month. That's not going to get us very far, is it? No. That's why at early stages, at the levels we're at, we need to grow our net worth. You need to be taking that 80K and you need to be looking to do a 10x. Try doing a 10x, a 2x, 3x, 4x, so it can multiply. We need to go from 80 to 160 to 320 to 640. And then from 640, if you do that next double, then you're in the point where we're at our 1.2, 1.3 mark. And now we can start thinking about, okay, are we ready to hang up the gloves? What age are we at? Are we ready to retire? Now we can put it in these high dividend paying stocks. Okay? And that's the key. And the other important point here is when you're looking to grow your wealth, you want to make sure that you're not stifling yourselves. And there's two key areas where you're going to stifle yourselves. One is excess spending in the growing phase. And the second is paying tax prematurely. Okay? Now, people who are sitting on dividends and starting their dividends from a young age, they're having to pay tax on their dividends. Now, if you're earning an income, let's say you're on 30K, 40K, 50K a salary, your dividends are going to be taxed at the higher level because that's seen as income above your ordinary salary. Okay, so instead of getting a chance to reinvest that full 5% you're getting from that stock, it's even less. Okay, so that £4,000, even if you were to reinvest that, you're investing less than that post-tax. So you're just going to stifle your ability to grow your underlying net worth. You're cashing in too early, so to speak. Now, the other thing is spending. It's the same concept. If you make £100 in your job today, and you're on, here in the UK, a higher tax bracket, you're taking home about £60 for every £100. So the next time you buy something for £60, really that cost you 100 on pre-tax money. And it's really important we start thinking about that because you think and you spend 60 quid, but not only have you spent that 60 quid, but there's an extra 40 in the tax. You would have to earn another 100 in order to cover that. Okay? So saving that income, investing it in your, in America, the Roths, IRAs. Here in the UK, it's the ISAs, where you're getting your tax relief on that is really important. And I'm not a CPA. Go get your tax advice. But the key here is build your net worth. Let it build in the background. Don't inflate your lifestyle. Don't start spending more just because you got to, oh, look, I've got an extra £200 coming from my dividend stocks right now. You're never going to build your wealth like that. You're just going to be stuck at that point. Instead, you want to be going into growth stocks, value stocks. You want to be looking at crypto, looking at getting on the property market and building your net worth. And once you've done that, and if you've got your goal figure, which I implore everybody to do this exercise, write down that goal figure and work towards building your net worth to that figure. And until you've built your net worth to that figure, we shouldn't be splurging. We shouldn't be buying unnecessary things. We should be focused on building that retirement figure, because that's true financial freedom, right? Everybody talks about FIRE, being independent and retiring early. But the reality is we need to get to that figure so that we can be in that position. And that's the key. And the quicker you can get to that position, then you can be free. Then you can start earning the amount you want to. So just to summarize, 1, work out how much you need to live on. Once you figure that out, you can use the simple, some people call it the rule of 200, right? It's the same concept as I've just explained. If you times the amount you need monthly by 200, that will tell you roughly how much you need to save to. So if you want 500K, times that by 200, and it can give you a rough indication of how much you need to save to. Okay? That's actually using a 6% yield as opposed to the 5% example we were using there. So we used a more conservative example. But you can tailor that. If you think you can go and get 10% in the market because you're more educated on some investments, or you're in real estate, or you're using any other different investment vehicle where you're getting more than the average 5-6%, then adjust that. If you're a bit more conservative and you're going to invest in smaller dividend paying stocks for some reason, like 2% or 3%, then adjust that even more, because you're going to need a greater lump sum to begin with. Okay. Once you've done that, calculate what your current net worth is, take your assets, minus any debts and liabilities you have. That's your starting point. Okay. So in the example, we used 50K cash, 50K stocks, 20K of a car debt. We're on 80K. We need to get to 1.2 million. And you're not going to get from 80K to 1.2 million, which is our retirement goal, without investing in a few growth stocks and taking some risks. And your game plan around that should be real estate, trying to get into the rental market. Okay, so you can have higher yields there. Stock market in terms of growth stocks, not dividend paying stocks. And you want to be looking at crypto as well. Highly recommend that. But again, splitting your portfolio based on your risk aversion. Okay. So there you have it, guys. That's the plan to retire early. Please do carry out this exercise and comment below with what your target figure is, what you need to live on each month. And if there's any questions you have on this, post them in the comments below, and we'll see you in the next one.